Hello? I'm back? You guys there? Sorry I've been gone a while. Had a bit going on. I've been working on scripts and stuff. I'm just unable to record often. Hopefully fixed in like a week or two. I didn't expect to be back on Family Guy so early, but gee, I was watching one of the recent episodes and I really noticed something that I mentioned in my episode reviews is actually starting to become a real problem. It's Brian and Stewie. They've always felt so inseparable, but recently they've become one of the show's worst pairings. I mean, you've got your Peter and Megs and your Lois and Chris, where it feels like they don't know how to write these characters without retreading old ground or overall ruining their dynamic, but it feels like they're at least trying to tell a story with those characters. Stewie and Brian episodes are just becoming repetitive, and it's not even just retreading the same story beats, it feels like they're shoving the same B-plot down our throats every 5 episodes. Occasionally they'll tell a different story and throw in a new character for them to bounce off of, but even then they're both pretty insufferable. So today I'm going to discuss Family Guy's most problematic duo.
Hey, Bri?
Yeah?
So I've been beating around the bush with that intro, but I guess if you've been watching Family Guy at any point in the last 5 years, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. It's the episodes where Brian and Stewie will try to start a business. Not sure what the sudden obsession is. Literally off the top of my head I can think of like 5 examples of this episode. And at least 3 of them are nearly identical because there's no effort put into this kind of episode. Which is really sad because Brian and Stewie are probably the most iconic duo of the series. You have more iconic characters like Peter, but when you jump to iconic duos, Stewie and Brian are probably who you think of first. In the early seasons, you've got their little rivalry, which is always fun to rediscover when I go back to old episodes. Then you have your winning formulas. You've got your Road 2 episodes, you've got your sci-fi episodes, and then you've got your time travel episodes. All of those categories for Brian and Stewie are a winner. I feel like with each of them you do have a miss or two, but they're still trying out new things. Despite falling under the same concepts, each episode is different in execution. I mean, you can't really tell me that any Road 2 or time travel episodes feel the same. The sci-fi episodes do end up following a pretty standard pattern. This is even acknowledged in Switch the Flip. But then again, I feel like Stewie's inventions are different enough to make the episodes feel different despite following a pattern. The point is, you have these amazing formulas that even when you get a miss, the episode is still inventive enough to keep watching. Wait, no, you get out of here. The point standing that they have these popular formats, but when given the chance to use, they ignore them. I say this when in a couple days the next episode is going to be a time travel episode. Still, how did Stewie and Brian fall so far? A bunch of their modern episodes are either them fighting or starting some new business.
Hey, you want to end the show with a to be continued meme?
I don't even know what that...
There are early episodes where Stewie and Brian would get a mundane project such as fixing up a house or running a pyramid scheme. I would say these fall under the same category of episode. They've just been executed way better and have jokes. Their recent ventures just feel like excuses to make puns or just have bad jokes. Like with Lifeguard Meg, the whole point of that episode is just feeling like they were trying to make cafe names out of puns. It is one of the most absolute bare bones plots I've ever seen, and it never really feels like there's any conflict. They have a couple small problems arise, but instantly overcome them. Stewie and Brian are at a cafe, someone comes in and cancels the owner, so the answer gives it to whoever can make the best name, and since they win, they get the cafe, but realise they don't have any coffee. So they start selling Folgers instant coffee. Principal Shepherd shows up and Stewie and Brian realise he'll be able to tell what it is and then they'll be ruined. They can't keep him away and get exposed, which no one really cares about. They think it's meta, which I don't know why they even chose that route, because almost immediately after, they end up getting Twitter cancelled as well, so now the shop goes to Principal Shepherd. I get they have to go back to the status quo, but why have them deal with a problem to make them immediately lose the shop to some random, unforeseen, nor set up problem? I mean, it's a consistent joke, which we've established I like, but, you know, this one's a bit different because, yeah, they've done something I like, but they've also put no effort in to make the joke work. So yeah, they lose the coffee shop. It was a very mid episode. And that is the case with most Brian and Stewie business episodes. I guess I did choose one of the worst examples, but it's not like the others are that much better. You've got your local honey business, saltwater taffy, an antique store, which while technically different, these plots feel extremely similar. Imagine someone throwing on random episodes and manages to throw on these episodes. They'd think this is what Brian and Stewie are. There are a couple okay examples, like their bed and breakfast or when they were crashing office Christmas parties, which leads to Stewie getting a job. I mean, that's less of a Brian and Stewie venture, but I needed more than one good example. I think the problem is they're starting these businesses on their own, which leads to the supporting cast really doing nothing because the cast around them either ends up being customers or a rival. I feel like it's better when they have employees or an employer because this gives them new faces to bounce off of, instead of that cast being customers to talk to or a rival to kind of say your business will fail. Like with the bed and breakfast though, it's a surprisingly well done episode considering the concept, but adding those special ladies is the icing on the cake, especially when they decide to take over the business and kick Brian and Stewie out. It feels like a more natural ending, especially when they call the cops. It feels wholesome, despite what it is.
Brian, look out!
Post-recording me here, but no script or anything. I think one of the best characters who has a new job every week is Roger from American Dad, because he's always using his personas, so he's always someone different. It's really interesting, and it would be cool if we could get more episodes like that with Brian and Stewie, where it feels like they're doing something different, but you know, they couldn't really go down the route of personas because then they'd just be copying. Which has also reminded me, in like the local honey business episode and the saltwater taffy episode, Stewie did end up playing characters to try and see if Brian was like a good salesman, which an interesting idea. They don't really do anything with it though, it's just the same thing done twice, except once Stewie's another salesman, the other time he's the customer. It's just boring. No real jokes are told. Anyway, time to get back to the video.
Crying baby, I'll take him out.
So yeah, essentially Brian and Stewie episodes are flawed. We did dig into their stupid business ventures in today's video, but that's completely ignoring how toxic they are. Like I mentioned in my review of Snapple Decision, I wasn't able to go into much detail there because the episode, once again, is basically nothing. It's just that they're bad friends, Brian constantly forgetting plans they made, like lunch plans, or Stewie chucking a hissy fit when he doesn't get his own way. It's just strange to me how you can go from such a winning pair to one of the worst dynamics in the entire show. I know characters getting a new job every couple episodes is a trope in these kinds of shows, but the way they're handling it in these episodes is just a snort. Like, yeah, you can complain about how many jobs Homer Simpson and Peter Griffin have had over the years, but it's not like the episodes where they get new jobs are fundamentally flawed. They're always trying something new, something exciting. Most of the time I want to watch Peter get a new job because he's doing something different. Like, yeah, it's unrealistic for these guys to have had like 100 jobs each, especially when the timeline in these shows doesn't really move, but it's still interesting. Heck, even something like Punishment Manor, where Peter decides to turn Carter's house into a hotel. It has way more heart and soul than any of the Stewie and Brian episodes. But realistically, you'd think the new Peter Job episodes should be the less inventive ones, instead of, you know, the characters they've just started using for this role in recent years. Overall, this season of Family Guy has been pretty mid compared to the last few seasons. But the worst part is, this season was cut short, most likely due to the writer and actor strikes, and yet we have 2 of these Brian and Stewie episodes in this season. It's just sad. And that's it, we're at the end again. That's kinda my jam. Stewie and Brian suck now, that's all you have to know. I'm wondering, do you guys agree with what I said about Brian and Stewie? Do you think another dynamic is worse at the moment? Or do you just have general thoughts on the video? Sound off in the comments and let me know what you think. I'll try to be faster with my next video. I do have like 2 scripts halfway done, but I do tend to procrastinate when I think I have time. So I'll probably see you guys eventually.